So at this time, no, I don't have a microphone. Nope, it's not on. So at this time, we'll call this meeting to order at 9:40. Roll call. Everyone is here. Let's move to the approval of the current agenda. Do I have a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So
A
moved.
first. I have a second.
I will second that motion.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Then we have approval of the previous minutes. Do I have a motion for the approval of the minutes from last month?
I so move to approve the minutes.
I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? Then I'm going to move it over to Ross, and I'm going to let you take this over with this topic that you have.
Okay, this time we'll be, the Tavern League from Kewaunee will be presenting a check to our commissioners for our donation fund to help out veterans. So we'll be over on the wall.
Yes, we can turn or something.
Say where on the wall, Rob?
I didn't put the X's for you?
Come on, Judy, you can come on in the middle here.
Yeah.
You want the other side of it.
We don't want to give them impression. We're social distancing a little bit.
Should we move some more chairs? Are you fine?
I should be fine, thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure, yep, mm-hmm. Three, two, one. One more. Three, two, one. Okay, and I'm gonna take one on Judy's phone. How do you do your phone? Selfie mode.
You got a picture of yourself?
Better than us
Thank you.
probably anyway.
All right. Three, two, one, and we'll take one more. Three, two, one. Perfect. Okay, there you be, sir.
Judy, I'd also like to,
Thank you.
on behalf of our veteran organizations and my office, give you a certificate of appreciation for the Tavern League itself.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for all the work you put into this and giving it to the town.
And I hope that it helps a lot.
This is from the administrators.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Thank you, Judy.
Thank you. Thank you, Judy.
Was it fun? Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you. Thanks, Judy.
Thank you.
Don't see enough anymore these days. Now that you're a senator.
Supervisor, senator. I can do that? Awesome. Boy, that'd be a great job to go to Washington. Cool.
That was very nice.
That's planning
Very nice.
big. I thought about
And they had
trying
a
to run
good
for an
turnout?
office to go to Madison, but
So we made a little over 1,500.
Very good.
very nice.
Very nice.
Well, we shared it with, so the way it worked was we kind of shared that with.
If you're talking to all of us, we can't hear you. I can hear him. I'm sorry.
So we had about 36 teams that turned out, which bring in for our county, for the donations, they gave us $1,500 from the Tavern League itself. Then they also gave to Veteran Rolls, which is an organization kind of like Honor Flights. Everybody hears about that.
Of course.
Veteran Rolls is very similar to that. For those who can't fly, they actually take buses. They go to DC and they spend 4 days in DC and they bus back. So it's a great organization. It's not very well publicized, which we're trying to change that and get veterans who don't want to fly, they can actually do that instead. Obviously during COVID, not a thing going on right now, but that's still a thing out there. So.
Very nice. Thank you. Nice to have something different on a meeting. All right, so we're going to move over to department operations, the monthly reports. Just by the way, Tara, he hung in there last month. It was hard. He was sweating, but he made it. So we're glad to have you back.
Okay, so for the month of August, our office, if you look at, let's start this correctly so I get to the right page. Let's look at appointments and calls. So you'll look at the operations part itself. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if you look at the operation one, it has the 2020, the scheduled appointments, the walk-ins, phone calls, and you compare that to last year. Right now, we're trending down as far as appointments go, and the walk-ins are significantly less than they were last year. And obviously, that's contributed to a lot that we put a lot of stipulations and guidance on not having walk-ins. We prefer to have the scheduled appointments. And people are doing more at home. We're doing more emails, more over the phone. They don't want to come in to sign the intensive files or anything like that, or the burial. We're sending it out in the mail. So we're getting less traffic in the office, which we're supposed to be. So that's working, but it's not compromising our ability to do our job at all. So we're still doing everything we're supposed to. We're just using different means to get it done. We hit kind of a milestone this month in August. We actually went over $1 million that we have been awarded to our veterans for the year. So our projected currently is $1,021,733. We've won a couple of the cases that we were looking at for backlog. For our BVA decisions have come through. A lot of them, the ones we have currently going out, we're working on convalescence because the surgeries are now being done, so people are actually going and getting their ailments corrected. And when they get their ailments corrected, anything for convalescence that the VA has to use, they automatically go to 100%. So that's being taken care of now, which is we're seeing an increase in appointments. Our comp and pen exams are back on par. Right now, there's only 1 out of the 5 organizations that's actually not doing comp and pen exams in person, which they said they should be doing that by the end of the month. Now, the next thing we have is the National Records Archive. They were in phase 1 of opening. They went to phase 2 of opening, and then they retracted and went back down to phase 0 again because they had a worker that actually passed away from COVID internally. So they have retracted their reopening. So we're still working on just emergency cases and funerals for National Archive Records requests. And we're trying to work our way through those. So anybody who's homeless or is in emergent need, we can actually get down there directly and call them. But other than that, they're not processing any records requests. So it's kind of stalling my compensation claims because I can't get the records to actually review.
This is a little off track of that, but what is the backup now on the records, the managing of the records? Because if you recall, umpteen years back when they lost so many to the fire, so what's the redundancy now in the safekeeping of all the veterans' records?
So currently, the National Archive of Records has the hard copies, obviously, down in St. Louis, but they also have it digitally backed up, and they have like what they call like the cloud, but lack of a better term for it. So they actually have it stored in 3 different places. One digitally on site, the second is digitally off site. So that's how they back up the records. When they get the records, they scan them all into the system, and then they make the copies, and then they send it off to be held somewhere else. So that's how they.
So wouldn't the cloud accessibility be something that all of our county officers could pull from?
No, and this is the same thing we get into. It's just like health stuff. So when we get power of attorney authorization to work VA claims itself, that does not give us authorization to look at all of the military documentation. There is only portions of our military records that are actually, what do you call it?
Accessible?
Accessible to the public. So it's public domain. Part of those records are not public domain until after the 65, I think it's 65 years or 53, one of the two. They have a years. So if you served 50 years ago or 60 years ago, your records didn't become completely public once that's done, or until you pass away. Whereas if you try to give us access to the cloud, then there's information in there that technically we don't have to have access to, or that we are not required to have access to.
Because that's all medical records, everything is in there, so.
Correct. But also it has non-judicial punishments in there, court martials and stuff like that. So they want to limit that access. When we request the records, we get all of it, but it doesn't come to us. It comes to the veteran. The veteran then brings it to us for that reason. Because if they want to go through and pull stuff out, that's their prerogative. But in turn, that could help hurt our case, because if they pull stuff out that I don't see, I can't do my due diligence.
Right.
But that's why they don't give us access to the cloud. They will not give us access to those records.
Understood.
So payouts for August, you see we had $225,000, $26,000 increase in benefits. Total monthly benefits is $251,444. Significantly more. That's a lot of the cases that were coming back. Again, still doing the blue water, still doing the widows. We've gotten some people that should have been adjudicated into 100%. We've won those cases, so you'll see that increase. That should not continue to the end of the year. Me and Tara are really trying hard to bite our teeth and not yell and scream. Pensions are still our worst point. We have a meeting this week with Gallagher's office and with the pension side to talk about that and why it's taking so long, because we still have almost all of them that we filed for this year for their adjustments have not been done, nothing. So we'll probably in October, November timeframe, you'll probably see, hopefully we'll start seeing some of those come back across to us, and then we'll see huge number increases, but that's not the norm. So that's not to be expected.
Oh.
So we're still fighting that.
Right.
I think that was it for the monthly report.
All right. Then let's move to the budget.
What, did anybody have any questions?
Oh, yes. Any questions? Sorry. Thank you.
No, it's
Any
okay.
questions? Then let's move to the budget.
Okay, so for our budget this year, the things that we can control, the only thing that I have that's changing this year, I have requested, you'll see that the travel expenses is still going to stay at 2,500. The only reason I asked for 2,500 is because this year our national organization is being held. I thought I gave you one. Oh.
I am like, where is everyone looking? Don't worry, Cindy forgot me too, so I was hanging.
Wow.
Okay, go on.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's
Wages
Monday.
will increase just because of the step for both myself and for Tara. The one big change this year is our compensation. If you look at workers' comp, you'll see that we are requesting $2,300. And before in previous years, it was only like 171. So during our audit with the finance, it was deemed that we were in the wrong workers' comp code for a lot of years. So now we have to get back into the right code, and therefore it increases our actual percentage for us to actually pay out for workers' comp coverage. So you'll see where it increased for 2020, we were $184. And then now in 2021, we're going to $2,309.03. So that's one big change. The other thing I was talking about was the travel expense. Is $2,500. We are having nationals in Madison this year. So that's a good opportunity since it's local. All the CVSOs are going down to there to be a part of national since we're hosting it in our state. So Madison for 4 nights, and it's looking at about $170 a night plus travel and meals. I did not do any outlay this year. I'm not requesting it because of the change in the budget for our travel, so I have not requested any additional things for our actual office itself. We're going to continue using what we got, and we still have 2 laptops we're going to be ordering before the end of the year from last year's budget. You will notice a change on we kind of braced over this during the August meeting. So they're going to be changing the way that the veteran donation and relief fund is used, the tax levy portion of that $4,000 that we have requested for the last couple of years is now going to be put into one account with the donation fund because then it can be rolled over. So like, for instance, right now I don't have a lot of veterans who have requested yet a lot of relief. So we're sitting on, I think, $1,800 that we're sitting with in the account. That's from the levy fund, and the donation fund is larger because that's my boots on ground going out and talking to businesses and getting donations. The problem is that at the end of the year, that levy fund, when it's not used, goes back to the general fund and then gets sent out. Well, next year, when everything is done and over, then that money disappears from the veteran relief. So instead, I would like to keep that veteran relief. That allows me to help. Some years we have a lot of people come in, then we go in the negative. We have to go back to the finance committee and say, hey, I really need some money, or we have to go out and find it ourselves. This allows the money that's being designated by the board to actually be used for veteran relief. It's going to be in one account, and it will continue to roll over year if we have excess. So that way I can continue to help my veterans, or our veterans, in the years that we are doing really well, and in the years that we have really bad years, the veterans have a lot of needs. So this allows us to continue that money to keep growing it, and then we can use it as we need to. That's not going to stop I'm still boots on ground out there talking to businesses and trying to get donations and stuff. That's not going to change that whatsoever, and the commission will still oversee the fund.
So it's moved from the levy into the Veterans Relief
Yes.
Fund. And that's where it'll stay, and we won't have that levy fund anymore, correct?
We will request
It'll
it every year. It just
It
once
just
it's
goes
approved.
into the Veterans Relief.
Correct.
Yep.
Yes. So every year I'll still do the request on this is how much it is. And we're still playing with the grant money we still get from the state also. That money then goes from there, and instead of going into a levy fund for it to be controlled, at that point it goes into the donation fund, and it's still controlled by my committee or by my commission. It's all one pot of money. So there's no distinguish between, okay, this is the donation fund and this is the levy fund. It just gets put over and it keeps rolling year after year.
Does
Or
anyone?
some years not. I mean, some years if we go over, then we're sitting in the donation funds where we're using it anyways. It's all for the veteran relief itself.
And I'm assuming that if the Veterans Relief Fund is really big and it hasn't gotten used, that will question if they'll put any into that levy or into, depending.
Yes.
Or, okay.
The biggest, and I would tell you the biggest swallowing point for the commissions or for the commission itself is, do I stop going out and requesting donations for the vets? At that point when we say, okay, well, we're sitting at $10,000. And this is a good example because, this year alone, our office and our commissioners have gone out and we've gotten close to $4,000 in donations, which is exactly what the county gives me. So then do I say, I don't want any money. I don't want any money from my veterans because I don't want to get it too big. I would never do that. I would still keep that in there because then we can help more veterans.
Yeah.
Sometimes we turn away veterans, not saying we don't do their complete payout. So like they have a heater goes down, it's $1,000. Okay, well, we have to look at it. $1,000 out of 4, I can only help 4 veterans.
Right.
Well, okay, but I still have $8,000 in the account. We're going to help that veteran and pay it out. I don't think it'll ever get to the point where we have to look at that, but it might.
Right. Okay. Do you have anything else on?
The budget?
Yes.
No, the budget is done.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on the budget that he just went over? Okay. Did you, Milty? Did you wait?
No, go on, go on.
Sorry, I thought you.
That's okay. Thank you,
Okay,
Kim.
so then if we're done with the budget, you did talk about some travel in here, so do you want to, with going to
Yeah, so the
Madison,
travel,
if you
we're
wanna
actually
do
gonna,
that with the travel?
yeah, I'll just put that in there.
Yep.
So the travel that I have currently on the books is for fall conference, to go to training. Now there's a lot of chatter on the website for our organization on who's allowed. Some counties are saying, no, you can't go out of the county for it. So we're still looking at that one. I'm not sure if I'm going to attend or not. We have done the registration already, and we paid the dues. The dues will be non-refundable because that's part of the organization. But by the end of next week, I'll make a determination whether I'm going to attend or not, based on our numbers.
Can you do virtual?
Not yet. That was another question we requested. National jumped on it, but our organization in the state of Wisconsin has not jumped on the conference or the ability to do the Zoom yet. We're still working through that part too. That's part of the thing that everybody's asked. They said, hey, look, if our county say no and we have to do this and we still have to do our votes, can we do virtual? And right now the president has not come back with anything yet.
Okay. And how much are we out? Is this the big conference where you learn a lot? This is where you have to go, correct?
Yeah.
Is that gonna hurt any updates or?
I don't think so because VA, I would say that VA has done a really good job on pushing out some of the stuff. And we're lucky with the northeastern region of Wisconsin just because Gallagher's office is very hands-on. So a lot of the changes that are coming out, we have requested for those subject matter experts to be on a conference call with us to do a Zoom.
Yep.
So we are keeping up with the times. Some offices are falling behind with the times because they are not doing that kind of extra work.
And you said you're meeting with Galen?
Yes, it was this week on Wednesday. It's Wednesday. We have 2 meetings scheduled in the morning. With Carrie and Dave, which is Gallagher's veteran service people, and then we'll have the pension people on, and we'll have compensation on and billing for emergencies.
And maybe at that time you can mention about this conference that you're not being, maybe they can work something for virtual.
Maybe they can give us a hand doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Because then we wouldn't lose the money and you get your training in and you.
I think it's the way ahead anyway.
And right. And it sounds like some are being offered and some aren't. So let them know you have the opportunity. So, and then you had something about about this travel on the budget where you're going to.
National next year.
Yes, next year. Okay. And that's next year. That's coming up. And when is that about?
That'll be in the springtime, so May-ish.
Okay.
May, June timeframe. Nationals, it'll be down in Madison. That's everybody, all the CVSOs that are nationally certified will be coming to Madison for it.
Okay. And that's both of you
huge.
or just you?
Just me.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Any other questions on travel? And you have anything else? No?
That's it.
Overtime report.
None.
Other matters. Then we will go to next meeting. And we have down, I think we did October 12th, right?
Mhm.
And we had that for 8:30. Do you have that, Tara, from last time? Okay. And then we did for health, we did November 9th. Is that going to work for use to go then from health to use on the 9th, Monday the 9th?
Yeah, I'm good.
That will be okay? Okay, so we'll schedule that for November 9th then. Okay. Then anything else? Otherwise, at this point, we will adjourn if I have a motion. I have a first. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oppose? This meeting is adjourned at 10:03. Thank you. We're done.